Have you ever heard of the concept of sequence of returns risk? I bet you haven't, and it's okay because most investors have never heard of it. But the reality of the situation is that sequence of returns risk could have the greatest impact on your ability to retire with the confidence of knowing that you'll never run out of income. Hi, my name's Kyle Roy, financial advisor with Kentucky Planning Partners. In this class, I'm going to walk through sequence of returns risk and how managing that risk can ensure that you'll be able to know you'll never run out of money in retirement. The most important concept to understand when it comes to sequence of returns risk is that your averages mean everything while you're growing your assets, but they mean much less when you're taking income in retirement. In order to illustrate this, I'm going to assume that you have a $200,000 investment. And let's say you're around 53 years old with a 7-year time horizon that you're going to be growing your assets without having to take any income. And what you've done as a prudent investor would is you've split that $200,000 into two different $100,000 buckets. And you've invested in two different portfolios. And the portfolios behave entirely opposite of each other. The portfolio on the left side of the screen, for instance, has what we call a positive sequence of returns. And that the first couple years we see positive returns on that portfolio. But if we look at the screen on the portfolio on the right side of the screen, we see negative returns early on and positive returns later in the cycle. In other words, the two portfolios at the end of 7 years perform exactly inverse to each other. So the question is which of the two portfolios do you think will have better performance at the end of the cycle? Do you think the 100,000 that experienced positive returns early on will have a better return than the portfolio where it had losses early on? This is a question I ask audiences all over the country, and it's okay if you got it wrong because most people do. It's important to remember that an average is an average, it is an average. If we take the average return of both portfolios, it comes out to 3% over the 7-year period. Even though the experience was exactly the opposite of each other, both portfolios would be worth $117,480 in the 8th year. And this is because regardless of the experience or the sequence of your returns during the growth phase of your investment career, as long as you can realize those averages and stay the course, you'll realize that long-term gain. But it's a lot different as you move into retirement. So what I want to assume is that we shuffle the deck back to the original investment amounts. But this time, imagine you're 60 years old, early in retirement, and you need $5,000 of annual income from each of the $100,000 portfolios. After taking that same $35,000 of total income from each portfolio and realizing the same 3% average, what's important to note is that the portfolio on the left side of the screen with the positive sequence of returns would have outperformed the portfolio on the right by 8.2%. Having that negative sequence of returns early on in the investment cycle is going to put that side of the ledger on a negative trajectory that could have great impact on your long-term ability to not run out of money in retirement. So when you hear that adage, stay conservative in retirement, this is why. Because volatility can destroy your portfolio in retirement, whereas as you're growing your assets, the adage to stay the course and buy and hold and don't panic when it's down is true because that volatility only affects you if you sell. If you have more questions about this concept or anything else, please give us a call at Kentucky Planning Partners. We're always available to help you accomplish your long-term goals and make sure that your money is helping you realize the life that you've saved for.